I kind of stumbled into the weight room after my varsity coach asked me to play on the varsity team as a sophomore. They brought me up as a running back, and I needed to get bigger. So I started hanging out with the seniors after practice, lifting weights and playing around. And I knew at that time that through weightlifting I was not only going to get bigger and stronger, but it would be the deciding factor in me ultimately breaking and shattering records as a running back at my high school. The gym was called Needham's Gym. I walked in there, and about 3 weeks into my membership at this gym, I met John Brown. And he was two-time Mr. Universe. Asked me what contest I was training for. I was 17 years old, and I was really just training to supplement my football. And the next thing I knew, 5 months later, I was on stage competing. And I got second place and best poser in my first show, and a week later, I won 4 trophies at 17 years old at the California Gold Cup. Once I won my first contest, I knew that I had to make a decision because I was very good in football and I wanted to get a scholarship, and I was only going into my junior year, and I couldn't walk away from football to concentrate on bodybuilding because I didn't know where bodybuilding was going, didn't know how to make any money, didn't know exactly what bodybuilding was all about.
Yes.
So I had a lot of pressure on me from my family and friends and coaches to continue on with my football. That was my meal ticket to go to college, get a free education, and fulfill my dream as a 7-year-old kid to go on and hopefully one day become a professional football player. But I was at a dilemma and a crossroads because at the same time I had just won the Teenage Los Angeles, the Teenage Orange County, and the Teenage California in bodybuilding.
Shawn Ray!
In 1985, I went on to Atlanta, Georgia. I won the Teenage Mr. America, and the next logical step for me was to go on to Australia and compete in the Junior Mr. World so that I had the clean sweep of all the titles for my age bracket. And I did. I went to Sydney, Australia, and I won the Junior Mr. World in 1985 at 19, and I got my first cover shot on the cover of Flex magazine. And I don't think there was anything like that experience of being on an international magazine and receiving fan letters. So football didn't provide that self-satisfaction of individuality and independence that bodybuilding was giving me. And it was at that time that I knew that I'd made the right decision to go ahead and follow bodybuilding. Immediately after high school, I had a choice, either get a job or go to school. And going to school was a job within itself. I decided that I was going to go to school because I could schedule my classes around my training. And I was talking to a lot of teenagers that just had a lot of problems because they could relate to me in age, but more importantly, they could find someone doing something good and having a certain amount of success at it and being able to relate. So I decided to get more into the sociology aspect and more into the psychology aspect of what makes these people think and do the things that they do. And that's what kept me in school, is that I became more and more interested. Fortunately for me, though, my senior year at Cal State Fullerton, I also won the Nationals, which qualified me for pro status. I had a tough decision to make because now being a professional, I was going to be traveling not only across the country, but across the world, going over to England and Germany and other countries that would take me out of the classroom. I continued to stay with my studies for another year, and it was just a matter of time before I had to make a decision, and I chose bodybuilding because you're only there as an athlete and you're only on top for a certain amount of time, and when that opportunity comes, you've got to grab it. I knew that the institution of education would always be there, but the opportunity to travel and to make a good living as a professional bodybuilder was limited, and my heart was in the sport of bodybuilding. I feel like I'm college educated, I just don't have the paper to back it up, but I will eventually get it.
Okay, now hold. Hold. On the back shot.
The fast cars, that's me. The nice clothes, that's me. Getting the pats on the back, the more the merrier.